Alrighty. Should be good. Hello. How you guys doing today? Hopefully it's a nice, enjoyable day where you are. Gonna attempt to go 3 for 3 on incident free here in this league. So far, we're the only driver to do both races and remain incident free. So I'd really like to keep that streak going, just for giggles. Way too hot. Yes, this is very true. And hopefully everything's coming through just fine. Thing I do want to make sure of before we get really started here, given that we're still in practice for the next hour. If there's any problems with the audio or anything, please do not hesitate to let me know. As I switched microphones this week.
Slow car ahead. Go left.
Here at my rig, and I'm trying to get it positioned just right because I noticed Monday night there was some clipping that I really wasn't happy about. It's one of those things where when you have headphones on, you don't actually hear yourself as loud as you are.
You got a slow car on the right.
So you don't realize that you're basically screaming even though you're really not. Squeaky dog, go squeak, squeak, squeak. I will say I'm not really too terribly excited for this race. You know, I just not a huge fan of this track. I don't hate it, but it's just so blah, you know? Like, it's a great track for these types of cars, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't... It's lacking in zest. It's just not a very zesty circuit, you know? Hi, would you say picking up 12 months of iRacing for 20 quid on Steam is worth it for the free content? Heard Steam is inferior to standalone, but at 1/3 the price. Steam is inferior to standalone. I feel like that is an accurate assessment. Now that said, I don't know how much it really matters because I don't have the Steam version and I've never had the Steam version. I've never really looked into it because at least when they initially launched the Steam version, there was some extra like restrictions and stuff that just kind of made it really wonky for really no reason at all. And I've just used it for so long that Steam never entered my mind. But in terms of value, I mean, yeah. I don't know how long of a subscription the Steam deal is. Yeah, I don't know if that's 6 months or a year subscription. I'm guessing probably 6 months. I mean, yeah, I would definitely say that if iRacing is something that you see yourself getting into, and you like the idea and the concept, that there's a reason why iRacing is one of these things where people either swear by it. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. PTSD. People either absolutely love it or they absolutely hate it. And I think if you like the concept, you gotta at least try it out to understand if it lives up to what you're looking for. Did they add weather in iRacing? It looks so overcast. iRacing has had temperature and cloud cover for a few years now. I mean, they've always had cloud cover, but now it is actually like dynamic in theory. The problem is you just have so little control and it's basically entirely random. And plus it does kind of screw things up because when you get a cloudy day, everything is just so much faster, it's kind of ridiculous. That's why I always suggest practicing on a sunny day, because then when you get a cloudy day, it's just like easy mode. Tsukuba looks like someone took some hairpins and clipped them together with a scrunchie. Odd reference, but I will allow it. I don't think you're wrong. I'm not gonna lie, I may or may not have been watching a bunch of time attack videos this morning from this track on YouTube. Alright, everybody's speaking Japanese. I'm like, I don't understand a word that they say, but race car go fast. Universal language we all speak. Porsche Cup on Daytona Road. I'm making it foggy. You know, it really is kind of... It does kind of annoy me a bit that iRacing doesn't use their weather more often. What weather they do have is they don't have, like, rain and that stuff yet. Because the game honestly looks way better with overcast or foggy conditions. But instead they always run everything... you know, basically mid-afternoon. So everything's just got a nasty looking yellow tint that just makes their dated game engine look more dated. Whereas when you run with cloud cover or with fog, it gives everything a little bit more of a natural blue hue, just by the process of the lighting just not being as intense. And plus it changes it up, it mixes it up, you know?
You got a slow car on the right. Car on your left. Clear on the left.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Oh, there, Mr. Potato.
You cut that corner and got a slow down penalty.
I mean, at least that's fair. It's definitely a shortcut that we just took there, that's for sure.
Car on your left. Clear.
One thing I would like to see, how big is the draft? did a few races here during week 13. This car was released, and this is one of those tracks that isn't a draft track, but it's still kind of a draft track. Like by Formula V standards, this is not a draft track, but yeah, I think so far the first 2 races in this league, this one has the highest probability of ended up kind of a bit more spread out. So I mean, Oulton Park, if you were 4/10 of a second a lap in terms of pace, the draft would just give you that instantly. Whereas I think here it's probably closer to 1/10 and a half, 2/10. So in other words, we'll be chilling in the mid-pack today. Yeah, there is a good chance that people will be able to create a gap on their own. Although it's going to be really tough because depending on the number of cars that actually show up. I mean, last week at Oulton Park, it seemed like a relatively light grid in terms of cars, but there was still 35 cars or something like that. Which 35 cars on this track, it could very well get very hectic. Because, you know, Oulton Park, there was essentially 2 corners on that whole track that you're actually using the brakes.
Good evening, everybody.
Whereas here you got, you know, 3 corners that you're actually using the brakes.
Good afternoon, all.
And they're all kind of quite technical, really. You know, this hairpin here, turn 1, you can go at it directly, try and park it in the middle. We can take a wider line. This second hairpin up here is just really kind of goofy, and I think is going to invite dive bombs. And you don't have nearly the same amount of straight that you do at Oulton Park. So let's see where this guy's at behind us. 0.8 of a second. Start of the straight. Yeah, so it's going to be about 0.2 of a second. This is your draft range. How is the V at Long Beach? I haven't driven the V at Long Beach. That sounds like a very not enjoyable combination. I mean, the Formula V is fun. The Long Beach is obviously great, but I just don't think that'd be a particularly great fit between the two. So we need to find 0.4 of a second here. So that's purple guy as fast
You got
so
a toy
far.
car on the right.
Ooh. caught a mild case of the oversteer. Just chasing the rear end a bit. People still race the Skip Barber now that this is out? I would assume so. Honestly, I haven't really been checking.
You got a slow car on the right. Go right.
Because this season, just with the
Car stopped ahead.
way the timing works out and everything, I've been primarily going from
You got a slow car on the left.
Indy Fix to the Formula V and kind of just rotating back between those with a little bit of Spec Racer mixed in.
Mic test, please.
But I don't think the
Mic good.
I don't think the Skip and the Formula
thank
V
you.
have too much differentiation between the two. I mean, they're miles apart, but at the same time, I don't know. I've talked about it before. I'm just not huge on the idea of iRacing have a Formula V,
This is
a
going
Skip
to
Barber,
be my first race for the
Spec
Triple
Racer. You know, why do we have so many of these cars that
Were you
fit
running
into
the
a very
arcade?
similar category?
screen. No, I had a single one first.
Nice.
Go ahead.
The Skip Barber is a completely different driving experience to the Formula V. Well, then they must have done something to the Skip Barber, because last time I drove the Skip Barber, yeah, it was kind of sort of more or less the same type of thing. To be brutally honest. Yeah, it's different, but at the same time, if you enjoy one, you're probably going to enjoy the other to a good degree. I mean, the biggest difference is just the fact that the Skip actually has something resembling some horsepower there. 'Cause that guy just flubs the gear shift.
Car right. Clear. You got a slow car on the left. You got a slow car on the left.
It's like one of those things where, you know, I can understand and appreciate the differences, and don't get me wrong here, but
Slow car ahead. Car stopped ahead.
within iRacing's ecosystem and the environment that they
Go
have, I
right.
just think it's much more productive that they spend time working on a more limited structure of cars, because then it just makes the whole system work better. The thing that makes iRacing work is the splits. The more splits, the more better. Checked out the new force feedback in Race Room yet? No, I have not. That's something I need to get around to doing, because I do need to do some recording for a video that I'm working on, anyways, unrelated to that. The thing is, I just have so little motivation to do anything Race Room related, because it's not bad, and I can certainly recommend it for a certain use case, but for me, it just doesn't check the boxes enough for me to be like, yes, this has a place for me personally, and because it doesn't have a place for me personally, I just can't get into it to the same degree, even though when I do inevitably do a video on it, I do promise to do it the same way that I always do, where even though it's not necessarily for me, I try and understand it and give it a proper shot. But honestly, the force feedback in Race Room racing experience The
Left
problem with
side.
Race Room Racing Experience was never the force
Clear on the
feedback.
left.
Well, at least recent-ish. I mean, if you go back long enough, but that... I mean, the only thing that I would really like with the force feedback, and maybe this is what they changed, is just making the whole thing just simple. I don't know why we're still having these force feedback settings that have 82 different sliders and all this stuff. Like, Real Feel told us the way, taught us the way back in 2009. Maybe it wasn't 2009, but you get the point. Alright, so how do we go faster here? What do we gotta do? What do we gotta do to find 4/10 of a second? I feel pretty confident that we do need to find 4/10 of a second, if not more. This is the week 13 races that I did. We were running 104s, 105s. Like high 104s. And in that race, I was racing
Just off the head.
with Oscar. He actually beat me that
You got a
race.
slow car on the right.
So I totally
Sorry,
failed
Joe.
the 3-4 shift on the middle of the back straight.
You're all good.
But, yeah, that gives us a good idea of what the pace is going to end up being in this. Turn one is so enjoyable in this thing. Let's get that nice gentle rotation on it. At some point, I need to do a fuel calculation. That'd be a good idea.
Right side. Clear on the right. Right side. Clear on the right.
That was big time slow through that corner. That's we're gonna gain time. That's the corner I'd start with there, guy. So you had the line more or less right, but you're just going slower than you needed to for some reason. I thought you had it right. Yeah, the thing with Race Room and the ranked system, I've heard some people swear by it, but whenever I've checked it out in time slots that are actually reasonable, which are generally weekday evenings US time, like the game is basically dead. And I really strongly wonder if it is a case of Race Room Racing Experience is maybe more popular with the European audience and those time slots. Whereas here, you know, in time slots that are more friendly to me, weekends excluded, you know, iRacing and ACC rule the day, essentially.
Right side. Clear. You got a slow car on the right.
Ah! I don't know, maybe if I find some time I'll do a midweek stream with Race Room, because I feel like that's a good way to go about doing that, and then kind of doing like what I did with the Automobilista 1 Racing USA DLC, where we did a stream as well as, you know, just my play testing and playing around in general off camera and all that stuff to actually, you know, get a better feel, but then be able to synthesize that with what, you know, commenters are saying and what they're asking about and all that, and then finally putting that together into a video.
Car stopped ahead. Car stopped on the right. Go left.
Sort of goodness, this is a track where every single corner you just feel like I did something wrong there. I don't know about you guys, but that's the way I feel about this track. The first right-hander feels okay. I kind of sort of know my way through there, but that left-hander, the 180 in the middle of the lap, not a clue. Final hairpin, not a clue. Just every single time. Yeah, maybe I need to use a different gear through there. And apparently we're just capped out at a 105. 105 flat. Which is going to be our lap time. It's like, ye shall not pass. Every single lap. You know, honestly,
You have about
for
5 laps
those of you guys
of fuel
just
left.
like watching the
You got a
stream,
slow car on
although
the
I'm
right.
guessing you probably just skipped ahead of the race anyways if you're watching afterwards. I'm just kind of talking about Race Room. Got kind of a discussion going back and forth here with a commenter. Race Room needs a new graphics engine, rumored Unreal. I'm gonna just say I hope to goodness that they don't go with the Unreal Engine, even though I know that's kind of something that's been in the works, supposedly, to some degree. After playing ACC, and yes, ACC looks fantastic, but that game is utter trash in VR to a degree that is honestly incredibly disappointing. Because the game not in VR is so much better, but everything about the engine just conspires to screw over that game in
Right
VR,
side.
and it makes that
Clear on the
experience
right.
so much worse than it needs to be, to the point where I didn't even play the game for however many years because the VR experience was that bad. And not to mention there's a whole host of other issues. Like the way the dashboard displays looks, unless you just throw like all of the resolution at it, is just so annoying. And it's not anything that Kunos did. It's just that's what the engine does. You know, and it is what it is, and you just got to deal with it. And maybe they'll go Unreal 5. That way we can have like some ridiculous trees and stuff. Be pretty fun. All right, guys, we might break into the 104s here. Granted, it's with the cheat, you know, from the draft. Woo! 104s!
Sorry, Thomas.
Yeah, no problem.
You got a toy
Oh,
car
John.
on the right.
John.
Go left.
What's
Hey
your
Matt,
name?
what was the first racing sim you ever played? Surely by
Yeah, I was
accident.
Sorry.
That would be, well, it depends if you want to include Gran Turismo as a racing sim. We're talking Gran Turismo 1. Because, you know, nowadays I feel it's very fair to include Gran Turismo as a racing sim. But back then, I don't think it was necessarily fair to include Gran Turismo as a racing sim.
Left side.
So, you know, your mileage may vary.
Still there.
But
hold your
NASCAR
line.
Racing
Clear.
1999 season. Really just by sheer happenstance. Like, I remember my dad got it out of the bargain bin at Best Buy back in the day. It's like, hey, you know, this might be fun.
You've got about 2 laps of fuel.
Sure enough, it was. I mean, honestly, really kind of just through sheer happenstance. The first one that I remember specifically being looking forward to because of, like, simulation would probably be NASCAR Racing 4. Like, I still remember the
You got a toy car on the right.
the ad in the magazines back in the day with, like, the cockpit, because at the time it was like a huge step forward. Like, you know, the cockpit camera was the backdrop of it, and then it had the little text blurbs and all that stuff in the photos. It was at Martinsville. Distinctly remember it. Still can remember it because it was just like, wow, that's a game I need. The good old days.
You have about 1 lap of fuel left.
Will you participate in Almost Pro Time Attack with Formula V? No. Time Attack, leaderboard running, you know, that stuff is not...
Left
We
side.
almost just
Clear on the left.
drift the whole corner there by accident. That stuff really doesn't appeal to me. And obviously, if you've watched the channel for a while, you know my whole shtick when it comes to sim racing. I'm not fast. You know, there's a reason why I generally move forward in the race, and it ain't because of speed. Alright. So it's kind of like, yeah, sure, I could go ahead and spend more time working on that, but I would rather be racing wheel to wheel and... Alright, my question, if anyone knows, do you have to, apparently I changed my pit crew guy. Do you have to go through the pit road access road, or can you just go ahead and duck into the pits off of the final corner? Let's see here. Randy says you should drive more IndyCar. Well, I drive plenty of IndyCar. I mean,
Okay, punch it.
do a 3-hour stream racing Indy cars every Monday night. You know, how much more Indy car can I drive? You're probably saying I should stop driving Indy Fixed, which probably should stop driving Indy Fixed, but you see, once an addict, always an addict, right? It's the long-running train wreck thing where you're just like, you can't help but take your eyes off of it, even though you know it's just terrible, and you should have a different feeling, but instead you're just watching the whole thing just, here we go again. Should post a NASCAR 99 video. You know, honestly, I would like to kind of consider doing a stream with one of those old games. You know, maybe NASCAR 99 season. And then it's kind of like, well, I don't want to just go ahead and copy GP Laps because that's kind of his thing. And, you know, like... It's like, then people are going to be like, oh, well, why are you copying this guy? And it's like, well, you know, we're not really copying one another here. We're just kind of enjoying the games that, you know, have a special something to us, but I don't know. Maybe that'll happen. I do think I need to start doing a midweek stream, though, with just something different. It's like iRacing is my main sim, and it's presumably for a while here going to remain my main sim. But to keep things going, and why can I not find my fuel calculator app? Give me. Oh, and in case you're wondering what app I use for fuel calculations, I still use iSpeed because I'm stuck in 2013. I'm sure just about 3/4 of the people on iRacing are like, what the hell is iSpeed? Get in top 30 of Almost Pro US, and there will be racing wheel to wheel. P.S. I will result doesn't matter. Just want to support our racing promotional stuff. All right, let's finally drop that PSI down. Magic settings. Remember, it's iRacing. I don't know what I was thinking, having half a PSI extra on my tires. Yeah, I just... The whole thing with esports and all that stuff, I've kind of talked about it before in the past indirectly. You really got to be dedicated to it if you're going to actually do it, because there are people who are very dedicated to doing that. And it's like, I'm not going to compete with them because I'm not that dedicated to that cause. So it's kind of like, yeah, okay, get in the top 30. Maybe I could get in the top 30. I mean, you know, we're racing in this league that's got some, you know, really top-notch drivers. You know, this is a car I feel like I do reasonably well in. But to get up to there, you're going to need to go ahead and spend hours upon hours upon hours practicing and, you know, searching for the lap. It's just like, I care so little for that type of environment that's probably why I'm a terrible qualifier. So I just... I mean, it's great, though. I mean, more mainstream competitions is not a bad thing. I'm trying to reposition pedal cam there. Apparently, came all shifted over. Do a whole hardcore NASCAR Racing 4 season with 100% race links.
Slow car ahead. Car stopped ahead.
Not a chance in hell.
Go right.
Not a chance in hell that's happening. 100% race lengths in NASCAR is just absolutely
on the left.
brutal. Like, I do not understand how or why people get into that whole thing. Like, yeah, we're gonna be doing this one race where we're gonna be turning left for the next 3.5 hours of our life, as well as being dependent upon AI not screwing you over doing something stupid, and then thus binning 3.5 hours of gameplay just up here random. Yeah, I've never really been one for like 100% race lengths in any game. I mean, I'd say probably the closest I got was Grand Prix 4. But even then, the vast majority of my racing has never been in that type of environment, just because there comes a point, especially in sim racing, where a race is just too long. You know, sim racing isn't as dynamic as the real world, so therefore you kind of end up in these things that happen, especially when you're racing the AI. Outside of maybe Grand Prix 4 because of the way it does things with AI, where you just end up in a scenario where, like, it's just kind of stagnant, you know? It's like, you know, the car isn't going to just suddenly fall to bits or something. You don't have that mechanical reliability X factor that, you know, you have in the real world, that even when it's a boring race, you're still, you know, hey, something might go wrong. Really does make me wish I had my copy of Grand Prix 4 around still, as well as that game actually worked with multi-controller support. His GP4 was so freaking great. It was so ahead of its time. Alright, so we're 2.5 tenths off. That's a draft-assisted lap. So, assuming that that's probably also a draft-assisted lap, we're probably still 2.5 tenths off. More speed.
Slow car ahead. Go right. Right side. Clear.
Yeah, we were committed on that one. we were committed on that one. Just like, oh great, he's right where we need him to not be. Either fling it into the wall on the outside of the corner, or just drive right into the side of him. Rip. Yeah, that's... why aren't you on Twitch, mate? Get that Jimmy Broadbent money. I don't know. Like, I am an old man. I am not hip and cool to all the newest happenings. And frankly, it just kind of seemed like, hey, you know, I've got this YouTube channel that I have, like, something resembling an audience, even though with YouTube and all that stuff, self-sabotage, you know, how much audience is really even there at this point. So this is just kind of like the straightforward thing. And maybe one of these days I will move over to Twitch. I don't know if there's like a bigger audience over there, or if it's just better platform, because I don't watch any of this stuff. I don't watch any live streaming, either sim racing or anything else, you know, so. Because again, I am an old man. I'm an old man, and there's clouds I need yelled at. Reckon it's about the same if the AI punts you or if a human or in multiplayer does that. Never bothers me. You know, there's... On one hand, I don't disagree with you. I believe that is correct. You know, racing will happen. That's part of racing. You know, someone wrecking you and all that stuff is, you know, part of racing. You know, simulated or real, right? But the way it works with AI sometimes is it just does things that, you know, it'll go for a move that there's no reasonable chance any human with anything other than just like the lowest racing IQ ever would go for it. You know, it's just like, that's when it gets really infuriating, when they just, like, they get into their mode where the way they're coded or whatever, they go into the I must pass now mode. And it's like, that was weird. That was weird. What was that? But when they get into that mode, and some sims are better than others in this regard, that's for sure, it ends up just like ruining that experience. Alrighty, so we spun around, we hit the curb. That is goofy. That's goofy. iRacing, please fix. Like, what the... That was weird. That was weird. iRacing, please fix. Physics just happened, yo. So how old are you? I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I am old enough to be old, but simultaneously not old enough to be old. I am an older man than the age indicates. Let's put it that way. Alright, I wanna drop back here and see what we can do, because David is, you know, super good, so.
You got a toy car on the right. Car stopped on the right.
So 36. I am not 36, I will tell you that much. I am younger than 36. But I am, at the same time, older than
Left
36.
side. Clear.
Alright, because if we can hang with David, then we'll be fine. And I like how every single time I'm behind someone going into turn one, we go massive green. Massive green. Like, come on. That's going to be purple. Yeah. Where'd that come from? Why can't I do that when there isn't a car in front of me? Because it wasn't the draft that was doing that. Wasn't the draft at all. And apparently he's using second gear in that left-hander. It sounds like he's using second coming off of that corner. Great, so now it's going to be a giant conspiracy, like the whole face reveal thing, and then now you're all going to be like, why won't this guy tell us how old he is? Like, what do? We're gonna be like sleuthing. Well, the good news is I don't think second is actually appreciably faster through there. As long as you hit it right. But then if you hit it right, second is going to be just too little. So in other words, hit the corner right and use third gear, or don't hit the corner and then use second gear but have more forgiveness. It's kind of funny though, because to be entirely honest, in the whole grand scheme of things with YouTube and all that stuff, even though I'm not old,
Left side.
and I know I'm not really old,
Stay on the right.
like you just feel old,
Keep to the right.
especially with, you know, people
Clear.
streaming, and
Left side.
it's like sim racing.
Keep
You're
to
either
the
racing
right.
with someone who's probably, you know,
Stay on
40,
the right.
50, 60, not uncommon,
Clear
or
on
you're
the
racing
left.
with someone who's like 16, you know? You just never know who you're racing with.
Left side. Clear.
Second gear does have more pop coming off the corner. That is pretty clear, but you have to also shift up again. I feel like as bulky as the downshift to second is,
You got a slow car
I
on the
think we're
right.
just going to rock third.
You got a slow car on the right. You got a slow car on the
Oh
right.
my God, we're all going to die. We're all going to die.
Car on your left. Clear on the left.
Why is that building smoking? What's going on there? Oh no.
Car
Where we
on your
going?
left.
Where are we going?
Clear on the left.
Just madness. So many cars. There must have been a pit party that I wasn't invited to.
Slow car ahead. Car stopped ahead. Go left.
Oh man, there's this. But you know, age is one of the good things with sim racing. I mean, this series here,
Slow
even
car
for
ahead.
example, they have
Car
a
stopped ahead.
whole class dedicated
Go
to
right.
people over 60, you know, and they're out here competing, having fun, doing the same thing that we're doing. It's just like age is but a number.
Right side. Clear on the right.
Oh, holy schmoly, we're up to P2 in that draft lap.
Left side. Clear.
Maybe I just need to drive cars that just make it 100% about the draft and no other skill. Like, I must be like the best restrictor plate racer ever. Just never known it. That just must be my calling in life. I am Michael Waltrip. Oh my goodness. No!
Go left.
I want to be the sim racing Michael Waltrip. No! Alright, good slipstream here. Get a good corner here. Maybe we can go to the top of the charts. It's theoretically possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. We screwed that up. Screwed it up. Way wide.
Go left.
In this stream, empty box finds enlightenment. That is the goal. That is the goal. Yeah. Not gonna lie, these streams have oddly become something I look forward to, which is why I started doing this, and it does help brighten the brighten things up. Oh, the good news is, guys, with the straightaways being so short, we should not have to worry about bump drafting here. Whoa!
Right.
Whoa! 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 That man just fell into the Matrix! Like, what? Ah! Foot slipped. That man like wiggled and then he blinked in the middle of it, and then next thing you know, he's like rocketing across the track straight into the barrier.
Go left.
That's an interesting place to put your car. Is this NASCAR? No, this is DMX car. That's what it is. Sorry, that's the only rapper I could think of in a short time frame that was somewhat relevant to the reference. Even though it probably wasn't a reference, but it is now. I think it's third gear, guys.
Right side. Still there. Still there. Clear. Right side.
Why, you didn't want to get crossed up? Come
Go on the
on. Come
Clear on
on. Alright, I really gotta figure out this turn one malarkey here.
They say you cut the course. You'll have to slow down
Ow.
and give up the
Ow.
time gain.
Ow. Ow. Just bang my elbow. Alrighty, so we got about 15 minutes until qualifying. Hit the e-brake there. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and do some fuel calculations here real quick. Alrighty, so we got 104 second or 1 minute 4 second laps. So 64 seconds. 40 minutes times 60 seconds gives us 2,400 seconds of racing. Divide that by 64, 37 and a half, so we're going to be doing 38 laps. 37 or 38 laps, depending on the flag, but we want to go ahead and do 38. And we're using 0.091 gallons, so 38 times 0.091. We need 3.458 gallons of fuel. 3.458. I think we're sitting at 2.9. Let's see here.
Okay, punch it. Move it, move it. All clear, punch it.
Hi, Racing. Why can't I not put in 3/4
Okay, punch it.
Or
That's it, go. We're done, get going. Go, go, go. We're done, get going. Okay, punch it. Okay, punch it. Okay, punch it. We're done, get going. That's it, go. We're done, get going. Okay, punch it. Go, go, go.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Alright, so basically we gotta save just a smidge of fuel. And then we can do it on half a gallon. Assuming 38 laps, but it's gonna be really tight. Ah yes, the good old iRacing tradition. Go fastest when tires are coldest. Yay, so much fun! iRacing, the only place where you have tire coolers. Just imagine F1 teams coming out with, you know, dry ice buckets to put their tires in. And yes, it is third gear. I don't know if I responded to that comment or not already, but just did. There you go. You all right there, Elias? You be okay? Cat walking on the keyboard? I mean, I would say spam bot, but you know, usually the spam bots are actually like promoting something, so they kind of have a purpose. I mean, this is just some guy that has got a sticky G key. Oh, here comes the sun.
You got a slow car on the right. Car stopped ahead. Car stopped ahead. Car stopped ahead. Car stopped on the left. Car stopped on the left.
Bounce a tire.
You got a slow car on the right.
Whoa! Alright, not a huge fan of that spring rate change. I think we're gonna go more extreme. Because that's what you do. If the change wasn't enough for you, then you just double down and make the change even bigger, because maybe it works out. Yeah? If a little dab doesn't do you, then the only solution is a bigger dab, right? I just love them tasty green outlap sectors. Maybe that's my problem in qualifying. Maybe it's not that I'm slow, but rather I don't play the qualifying game in iRacing, where you do a slow outlap because your best lapper when the tires are cold. And maybe that's why I always qualify terribly. And I've just never put the two together until like right now. But I personally refuse to play those games out of principle. And I highly doubt I'm the only guy who doesn't do that, so I don't know. So you guys down in the comment section, let me know. Are you guys playing the cold tires game in iRacing when it comes to qualifying? So, Thomas, did you end up getting the... Did you end up pre-ordering the Fanatec, whatever it is actually called? Their new wheel, or... Man, a year without sim racing, that's pretty bad, man. It's gotta be painful.
Car stopped on the right.
Yes, Cadwell, that is a thing. It's been a thing in iRacing for a very long time. In terms of the cold tires being fastest. If you've ever, I mean, it's really obvious. If you just use the in-car relative display, like those laps that we did coming out of the pits, I guarantee you I was not driving 0.2 of a second faster through that corner all of a sudden when I've been doing... I mean, how many laps have I done this practice session? Probably done 50 laps-ish? Like, I didn't suddenly just find 2 seconds magically, and there's not 0.2 of a second of tire wear in there. It's just cold tires are fastest. Alright. So let's try going the other way, see what happens. We end up failing tech. And we are going the wrong way. You know, apparently you just cannot run. Never mind. I'm stupid. Never mind. It's almost like I did a video on this. You'd think I would know how this stuff kind of sort of works. too low. What is our ride height window? Just a giant frickin'... Oh, now... Oh, God. Apparently, this just is not gonna work well at all. We'll just go ahead and... Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Yeah, sure, that seems like the right setup. I don't know. Not like it really matters. It's the Formula V. I mean... Setup, not really the end-all be-all. But we do need to make sure we have enough fuel, because fuel is pretty critical. Oh my goodness. What the flip? Alright, alrighty. It's really confusing because the ride height and all that stuff doesn't update when you click the buttons. So you end up making changes and then you find out that, oh hey, wait, that's illegal. And of course, iRacing in their fantastic wisdom, their user interface doesn't have a freaking symmetrical button because that'd just be too rocket science. Oh my God! Where is it? Where is this coming from? You know, like why? Okay. Okay. What was going on here? All right. Hit the anti-roll bar. Change the brake pressure. Where's the... You see, just ride height. Yeah, we lowered the ride height. That was one of the things. Fortunately, our camber didn't just freak out. Add the fuel. It's like when it comes to iRacing, there's a specific way that you got to do all this stuff in, and that is above my pay grade. Because why is negative 2.8 degrees camber on the left rear too low, but negative 2.8 degrees of camber on the right rear is just fine? Why? Who knows? No one will ever know. Just iRacing things. And I think qualifying just started. All because I clicked the wrong button. Alright, baseline. Let's do it. Baseline heroes. We can do it. Soften the ARB. Lower it down. Yada, yada, yada. In qualify mode, so we want the purple for the purple sectors. And we are going to take the fuel out. Just came here. This is the only reason I won't commit to iRacing. Setups and paid setups are too much. And cheaters. You notice them. Rarely. But I can find one in empty box videos. Okay. There's cheaters in, like, every game? Oh, goodness. We're going to have this affair going on here. Let's just exit out of here. Although there was our opportunity to find track space. I can honestly say I have never run into a cheater in iRacing. I know I've run into cheaters in iRacing. But I've never run into them to the point where I just look at them like flagrantly, yeah, clearly cheating, and everybody knows it, to the point where I don't know. Like, I know, I 100% know that cheats do exist, and I 100% know that I guarantee you that I've run into cheaters. But I've never actually run into anyone that I flagrantly know are cheating. But then again, I'm also not the type of person to blame the setup. So, there's that. You know, the setup isn't the reason why people go fast. It's because they're actually good. It's like, heck, I even find out that the one guy that was very strongly suspected of, like, very high-profile driver within iRacing, suspected of cheating, and called out for cheating, and then find out, hear through the grapevine that, yeah, actually the real story on that may not necessarily be, may not actually be the thing. It might have just been a case of people and their egos, which sounds like absolute par for the course for iRacing. And if you know, you know. If you know, you know. You know exactly what I'm talking about, because it was all over the place, but the guy's just really that freaking good. But this is going back years ago, so maybe there might be a reference that is more up to date that some of you guys might think I'm referencing, but no, it's some guy on the NASCAR side of things that honestly very well could have been the could have been Ty Majeski before Ty Majeski was Ty Majeski and the iRacing thing, or William Byron. Pick your reference. Alrighty, we got a slipstream here. Although I guess there was the whole debacle with one of the teams in the iRacing GP series, the Road Pro series, supposedly like built their own traction control program or something like that. Like, come on, that's clearly one of those things where you should just be automatically thrown out of the competition and banned for good. Can't say that I blame them, but okay, you were supposed to be my draft. And then you do that.
Still there, hold your line. Clear.
Aaron, come on. I gave you a draft last week at Oldham Park, and then you just fling it into the wall in the final corner. Trying to draft off of you here, and then you just try and fling it into the wall in front of me. Like, come on. Got a frenemy situation going on here.
Car on your left.
Oh, goodness.
Clear on the left.
Oh, goodness. All right, we got to figure. What? Do I really not have that setup that I had on the car? Not that it's a setup, but like either that or the weather changed, because I feel like there's just way more understeer now. Does the V have paddle shifters IRL? No, it doesn't. Paddle shifters are just me clicking, because that's what you do. But how do people even cheat in iRacing? I don't know how prevalent it is today, because I know back years ago, it was kind of a thing where it was more common, I guess I'd say. Not that it's necessarily common, but well known and talked about more in the community. Whereas now it seems like the type of cheats that are going on are less in your face. And I think it's really just a case of a few years ago, iRacing really started working on anti-cheat and that kind of stuff. Because originally, I don't even think they had like anything. Like way back when. But yeah, I mean, there was grip hacks and stuff like that, which would give your car just more grip. And honestly, going back to kind of the topic of discussion, that's one of the things with cheating in sim racing. If you cheat, you could very easily get away with it. You know, as long as you're not flagrantly obvious, as well as the fact that if your program or what have you gets busted, you know, that obviously would be a problem. But you could just be slightly faster because you're running a cheat program, and it'd be so hard to actually uncover that. It's just like one of those things where you just don't know. I do know that that corner was terrible. That corner was terrible. That's terrible,
Right side.
man.
Clear on the right.
So again, that's kind of why I look at it and just say, you know, so be it. Yeah, I suppose if I was of a different mindset, or, you know, esports, that stuff, time trial competitions mattered to me, then yeah, I'd probably care about it more, but with what I'm looking to get out of the game, the way I play them, like, I can honestly say that I've never given two hoots about it. If I recall correctly, the main things that show up are weird exploits and car setups that occasionally produce marginally higher performance. Yeah, but the thing is, car setup exploits, as much as people want to complain about them, and they happen in every racing sim, it's always been a thing within sim racing. Like, that's part of racing. I mean, you know, for example, the cold tires thing. Okay, yeah, that's the iRacing tire model. That shouldn't happen. As far as I know, there's like no tire out there that is just way clearly super fast on cold tires in terms of the lap time. Like, I don't think you can make a tire compound actually work that way. But at the same time, that's the way the tire does work. So if this was a real scenario, yeah, everyone's going to take advantage of it. You know, people will complain about, you know, in iRacing, minimum tire pressures are the way to go, but, like, look at Formula 1. Pirelli's over there yelling at people, hey, you gotta put air in the tires, people! Like, you know? Like, you know, like, everyone just constantly pushes the limit. It's not an exploit, it's just finding the time. You know, there's a reason why, you know, these guys who are doing the esports competitions and all that stuff, you know, some guy's tweets on Twitter, who's competing in the that big 1987 NASCAR race, that Firecracker 400 or whatever that they put on. And he was talking about how when he used to be in that world, he was putting in 40 hours a week working on it, practice, setup, and all this stuff, and it's like, it's a full-time job, you know? It's like, there's a reason why in the real world teams spend millions of dollars on testing when they were able to. Because, you know, sometimes there are things out there that maybe don't necessarily make the most sense, but then they do. Or in other words, anybody remember coil binding in NASCAR? Like, that was not a thing, and then all of a sudden it was the thing. No! No! Yeah, we are on to qualifying. Yeah, I mean, I wish the setup exploits and all that stuff, you know, for example, I've talked about it before on this channel. I distinctly remember there was a time where with the DW12 IndyCar, if you set the toe up a very specific way between the left front and the right front tires, you would just go way faster. And it didn't make any sense at all. It was just some sort of magical combination of settings. And it's like, those are the type of things that just really put a damper on sim racing. In terms of, you know, like the exploits. Because, I mean, something like that, the only way you would have ever found it out was just sheer happenstance or just simple brute force of going through and checking one thing after another in the garage page and just spending way too much time on it. Do you think slipstream effect on this car is excessive? Yeah, but I think that I think in general iRacing has a very strong slipstream effect just across the board. But then with this car, I think they made it even worse than it needed to be because, you know, this car has no power to begin with, and then they went ahead and added on stickier tires, which are going to affect the rolling resistance, which in a car with like 40 horsepower is going to have a pretty substantial effect on it. Remember, cold tires don't matter until they do matter. But it's just a combination where they piled one thing on top of another, and then you get in a scenario where totally lost my train of thought. But no, you end up with a scenario where the slipstream just becomes more powerful. So you ended up putting multiple things together.
Left side, clear.
That man just died right in my face. He died in my face! Isn't that how the song goes? I just died in your face tonight. Must have been some way you crashed. Sorry, I'll never do that again, I promise. Okay.
Car right, clear.
Alrighty. See, this is what I was talking about. How this track is going to get very hectic very quickly.
Right side, clear.
And the thing is, there should be 2 sessions. So this isn't even half the cars. I really don't want to be starting potentially mid-pack. You know, that's not where we want to be on this track in this scenario. Try and back it up a little bit. Let me get a run. gonna go side by side, so I'm gonna end up catching them like right in the third corner. So. Hey. Oh
Now
man.
on your left. Keep to the right.
Your lap's already
Clear.
ruined anyway, so I don't feel bad passing you. Alright, what's our time on the board? A 105.1. We should be able to do better than 105.1, right? Draft or no draft? Alright, super serious mode. Super serious mode. Oh, it turned in too early. Ah! No good. It's no good, man. And we might still be able to improve our lap, but... Not by much, if at all. Oh man, this qualifying session is turning into a disaster real quick. This is turning into a disaster real quick. And I don't like it. Alrighty. Should be in a good spot. Hopefully no one comes out of the pits. There we go. Alrighty.
Car right. Clear.
We're not going to have a draft. Oh man. I've hit the 105 wall again. I mean, grand scheme of things, we did qualify 10th and win at Laguna Seca, so it's not end of the world, but this is not Laguna Seca. I just expect a lot more carnage here than even that race, just because everything is so tight and compact. But I really would rather not be starting far back. Alrighty. So I mean, we could theoretically be looking at starting 20th at this stage, you know. When you're the points leader, you don't want to start 20th. Not that the points matter, but that's just an indication that we've been like somewhat competitive further up the field, not battling for 20th, you know? Okay, we got another Hornet car. In fairness, I just totally drove right through the guy. Like, I mean, it was my fault, but it's qualifying, you know, so it's like, either go for it or don't even bother.
Car right. Clear on the right.
Just go faster, problem solved. Yeah, that's the goal, man. Trying. I'm trying. But if nobody wants me to draft off of them.
Right side. Clear on the right.
Nobody wants me to draft off of them. What's up with that? What did I do? Is it because I smell funny? Alright, alright.
Right side. Clear.
Oh, boys. We are not looking too hot right now.
You have about 5 laps of fuel left.
No! No! Frig! Gosh darn it. I mean, that's going to improve our time. But that lap could have been better. Lap definitely could have been better if I just didn't lay over drive in the final hairpin there.
You have about 2 laps of fuel left.
No! No! People! You're doing it wrong!
Car right. Clear.
Oh. Alrighty. Hopefully this guy stays on track.
You have about 1 lap of fuel left.
We don't even have enough fuel. Alright, we don't. We should have enough fuel. Alright.
Car on your left. Clear.
And just pile driven right into the back of. I mean, yeah, we were kind of going a little bit slow,
right.
but
3 wide. Clear.
we were clearly right in front of the guy. I don't know. That's on me.
Right side. Clear.
I do feel like the guy came from about 10 miles back to the point where you probably weren't going to make the corner there.
Car on your left. Clear.
Alright, get back here, Chris. No! She's... Oh, God, she's sputtering. I should not have done that. The whole last 2 minutes there, just bad. Bad driving. Top bad driving. Although I will say I did not expect my car to just like ricochet back in the middle of the track like that. Like usually you just get stuck in there. It's no good, man. It's no good. We are in a deep world of hurt. I mean, if we just ran the same lap that we ran in practice, 104.668. I mean, we're P3 in this session. I don't know. A little perspective. Gotta have a little perspective. Going into this series, I kind of expected to be in that area. 10th place or so. And we did have a lap that would have been at least a 10th and a half faster on that one that I just got into the hairpin too late. And 10th of a half, as compressed as this grid is, would have bumped us up to 4th place in this session. What did I change with the pedal cam? So apparently in OBS. In OBS, there's a setting to control like what video format your webcam is exporting, and I just had to go in there and set it from automatic to MJPEG, and that fixed everything. Simple as that. Whole lot of frustration that was like 3 clicks to fix. Why do I prefer the whole lap timer rather than the sector one? I have no preference at all. I just... The thing is the thing. Crunch. No, I don't have a preference one way or the other. It's just that's the first one that you press the button and you get. Usually when I'm actually looking at the sectors, I'll look at the display down the left side of the screen. You guys can't see it on stream because it's behind my pedal cams, but there's a little box that shows up all of your individual split times around a track, which if I'm really particularly interested, I'll kind of reference that, because usually when it pops up on screen, good luck actually reading that anytime soon.
Ticket flag, ticket flag.
So with that, we're going to be on into the race session. So... Alrighty, we're gonna go switch on out here and just wait a few minutes while we're waiting for the race session to go live. Hopefully our qualifying position isn't too horrendous. Hopefully we're actually starting in like 10th place, roughly somewhere thereabouts. I wouldn't be too displeased about that. I would prefer to be on the outside line, the left side line. I guess there's really no outside on a road course. With that said, this is that moment in the stream where it's break time. So I go ahead and step aside here and rejoin you guys. Be about 2:50 my time, so about 10-15 minutes. It's actually 13 minutes, but hey. So, all right, be with you guys back in a moment. So I think our only option is to go with the less fuel strategy. We might have to do a little bit of saving, but I think that it'll just take care of itself in the race. With being in the draft and everything, because we're starting in the middle of the pack. Because, I mean, it's like a tenth of a gallon to make it safely. Is the difference between having to take, what was it, 5/10 of a gallon and 8/10 of a gallon, which is going to be a pretty significant fuel flow time. So we'll just have to make sure that we save enough fuel. Not that it should be all that difficult to save a tenth of a gallon, but especially when you start in the middle of the pack because you can't qualify. Yeah. What is the best food to watch empty box? Sushi or pizza? I'm going to go ahead and reveal something. I don't think I've ever had sushi, and I have no desire to have sushi. And I absolutely love pizza, so the answer is pizza. Pizza is superior. Pizza is like the greatest food of all time. I mean, pizza and tacos are definitely 1 and 2, and then you add in taco pizza. Psh, game over, man. Game over. Undisputed. Does not get any better. Oh, man. You know, I wish they would show you the results from the other session as well. Because, I mean, we had the fast guys in this session. Alright. Alright, I'm just checking. Okay, there wasn't that many guys in the other session, and the fastest lap time in qualifying was a 104.8, so it looks like we're going to start 9th place. I don't know why there was 9 guys in the other session, but the session that we were in had 24. I guess good job keeping that one balanced. I would say, what about pizza tacos? But that's just calzone, isn't it? Yeah, kind of, sort of. And then if you have a taco pizza calzone, then it's basically a burrito, right? I mean, it's crazy. Things that you never really think of until you... Okay, pizza with pineapple ordered. What are you doing, man? What is... Pineapple pizza. Now, if you went with Canadian bacon or ham or Canadian bacon and pineapple, kind of understandable. That's not a horrible combination. But you know, the pizza burrito, so Hot Pocket. Oh my goodness. Alrighty, people. You need to... You're breaking my brain. You are breaking my brain with this 4D things I never thought of that are just shaking my worldview. I mean, this is the life-changing stuff right here today, boys. Yeah, I mean, pizza burrito is a Hot Pocket. And a Hot Pocket is just a calzone in a different form factor, you know. Alrighty, where is the session? Should be going up and live here. There we go. Session is live. Let's go ahead and spot for people. I'm just kidding. Although the big thing is, I would like to make it 3 for 3 on the clean race. Let's turn clean race from IA into a thing. Let's do that. Whatever happened to that guy? I can't remember who that was, but someone's gonna comment that guy's name, and I'll be like, yeah, whatever happened to that guy? Because he was like a iRacing legend. Put him into the iRacing Hall of Fame. And I just love how iRacing on the loading screen has the track map for the little short course that's right next door, and they have it fully like modeled in the sim, so you can like use the replay cameras to look around it, but they're never gonna make that track. It's just like, why are you putting this thing right in front of my face where you're basically showing off what we could have, but what we'll probably never have? Like, what's going on there? Why you gotta brag? Why you gotta gloat? Alrighty. Come here, Doug. Where you at? There you are. Yeah. Ooh, we get clouds. It's gonna be cloudy out here today, boys. It's cloudy with a 100% chance of pain. Alrighty, put the fuel in. Put the fuel in. Today's a yellow kind of day. Alrighty. We switch back over here. There we go. Alright, just a second here. Probably. Am I late or am I late? Actually, you are right on time because we just joined the race session, and I'm just going to say screw it to this pop filter, which hopefully won't be a decision that I come to regret, but it's far enough out of my line of sight and speaking anyways, we should be fine. We just joined the race session, so we got 10 minutes of warm-up, and then the race actually starts, so literally perfect timing. The only thing you missed was just practice and qualifying. We have a less than ideal qualifying spot. Is what it is. The big thing is avoid the carnage, which I guarantee you there will be plenty of. Ass left. Okay. That man must be scanning the crowds while he's driving around out there. He's driving around, he's just like, hey, there's some ass on the left. Germans don't have a word for pie, so they call it cake? What? What? Yeah, that's the thing that always gets me with language. Like when people are like, well, you know, this word doesn't have any translation. There's no way to express what this word actually means in another language. It's like, wait. What? I think what you mean is no way to state this in a way that makes any sense, because if you couldn't say what it meant, then no one would ever know what it actually meant. Like, there has to be a way for German people to know the difference between, like, a pie and, like, a cake beyond just the word itself, you know? I mean, but then again, German is just a very interesting affair. I don't know German, don't speak German. I only know English and enough Spanish to be dangerous. But,
You got a toy car
man,
on the
y'all
right.
just cram every single word together all into one to go, and it's... it's crazy.
You got a toy car on the right. Car stopped on the right.
I really wish my high school would have offered German, though. Unfortunately, it was Spanish or French, and it's like, well, I have to take one of these. Which one am I likely to use? Spanish or French? I guess victory by default for Spanish. Don't particularly see myself ever going to France. Oh my goodness, we got weather that looks like absolute storm is about to nuclear annihilate this place. As someone from the Midwest, I'm familiar with the sunny sky thing, dark cloud. That's when you know it's about to hit the fan. It's like, am I going to go to France or Quebec? Or am I much more likely to end up in a scenario where Spanish-speaking coworkers are saying stuff, and I know what it means because I didn't tell them that I speak Spanish a little bit. Really handy, that one. Yeah, I worked in a pizza place way back when. There was a bunch of guys from Central America, you know, that had worked their way up to Iowa somehow. Like, I think they were just part of this guy's pizza chain opening group, and didn't tell them that knew any sort of Spanish, but you could, they'd say things. They'd say things in Spanish just assuming no one else knew what they were saying, but that was not the case.
Right side.
Just like, guys,
on the right.
you are like grade A freaking jerks. It's fun though. I'm really liking this environment that we got going on here, between the clouds that just look like absolute certain death is about to come upon, and we're gonna hear the tornado sirens in about 15 minutes here. Like, you don't usually see that. Alrighty. Do you still use Spanish though? No, not really. I mean, I never really used it to begin with. I mean,
One left to green. Line up on the right side.
I live in
right
Iowa,
now.
which is, if you're not familiar with U.S. geography, it's like in the middle of the country. Like, just place a mark right in the middle of it and just go up a little bit. That's Iowa. Not a lot of, at least in my area, there are certain areas of the state, not a lot of Spanish speaking going on, but it is kind of one of those things where here in America it is, you know, the second most common language. I assume. I haven't done any studies on that, but it's just one of those things where you just every now and then see something, and it's just handy to have an idea of what the heck you're looking at.
Get ready, going green.
Alrighty. So we got our fuel set up. 40-minute race.
Yep.
Apparently I missed the pre-race pep talk, but starting in 9th place. Want to start in 2nd. We learned that last week. Let's try and make sure that we keep this clean. We're going
Green
early.
flag, green flag.
Cold tires, they don't matter until they do matter, so therefore pretend that they matter. And let's try and have a 0x to keep the streak going. Alright, potentially a little slow through there. Alrighty. Alright, we're into the race now. We have heated the tires. I got too carried away there. You have to remember we do gotta save just a smidge of fuel, which I don't think will be a huge problem. Get that all set up. Alrighty. Check the fuel. Alright, that'd be more than enough. Yeah, I have my second monitor that's just displaying a fuel number in OBS preview window. I just want to make sure that we're going to be good if this race does go 38 laps rather than 37, because it is just a slight fuel save to be able to do it on 5/10 of a gallon. It'd be really beneficial to save the time in the pits.
Go left.
Oh god, PTSD. If you were here for the Monday night stream, you'll know exactly what I mean. Some guy spun in that exact same fashion and then just ripped it across the track right into us. And that was that. What part of Iowa? Cedar Rapids. Alrighty.
Right side. Stay on the left.
Ah, fluky shift. Fluky
Keep to the
shift.
left. Keep to the left.
We're dead.
Clear on the right.
We're dead. We're dead. We're dead.
Left side. Clear on the left. Left side.
He's dead.
On the right. 3 wide. Left side. 2 wide. Go right.
I think that was a double fluky shift. This guy in the car in front, he missed a gear. And I think the guy that he was going around also missed the gear, which is why he was going around. So everybody's missing gears. And meanwhile, I'm just over here like, this is why you use third gear. Alrighty now. Let's kind of thin the herd a bit. Catching this guy up. Whew. So intense, man. So intense. Stick with it. Let them come back to us. It's the plan, at least. Whether or not that actually comes to fruition, who knows? Keep it off that curb on the inside. That code? And did everybody practice more this week, or what? Like, what's going on here? It's probably the draft just not being as dominant a factor. So we might be catching this guy ever so slightly. I feel like turn 1 is the only corner we're actually decent in. Fuel. Yeah, after last week we were talking on the Discord, And I must just be an absolute lightfoot when it comes to fuel. Because Oscar, which he won the race last week, if you were here, he won it on a fuel strategy to essentially break himself out of the pack. He took the same amount of fuel that we did at the stop, but I didn't need to do any fuel saving at all in that race, to the point where I had like 0.2 of a gallon left, which is 2 laps. As he apparently was riding around pretty significantly out of it the last few laps just to make sure that he made it. And he ran out right after the start-finish line. So maybe that's just a sneaky advantage we have. This is like last week, I wasn't doing any sort of fuel saving or anything like that, trying to preserve anything or do anything. Power hard, get on power early. Set it up.
Left side, you're in the middle, 3 wide. Car right, 2 wide. Left side.
Get the feeling the guy in the red
Stay
car
on the
wasn't as enthusiastic about going 3 wide as I was.
Still there, hold your line. Stay on the right. Clear.
Just trying to force the 2 wide through there.
Car on your left. Clear. Left side. Clear.
This guy in the red car is just like so much time there in turn 1. What are our lap times? 5.9. Do we risk? Do we risk the early stop? So I think we can go faster than these guys. Are we in the fuel window? We are in the fuel window. Where would we come out though?
Right side. You're on the left, 3 wide. Right side, 2 wide. Clear.
I think we're gonna come in. If we don't get by him this lap, we will come in, make our stop. So we're running high 105s. This is just way too slow. Because the leader's already out of the question, and I think they were out of the question to start with from our starting position, but the podium isn't out of the question. So we'll see here. If they stay out, we'll come in. Oh, not great, not great, not great at all. Should we turn that fast repair off just in case we need it? Glug, 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 come on. Too far forward.
Go, go, go! Car on your left. Clear on the left. Car stopped ahead. Slow car ahead. Car stopped on the right. Right side, go left.
Oh, joy, this is not where we want to be. Although, at the same time, they did just wipe themselves out. The question is, are they going to just sit there, or are they going to try and race with me?
You got a slow car on the right. Go right. Left side. Clear.
Oh boy. This might not work out. It's like every corner there's a wreck now. Like, come on. Looks like we got another one coming in early. So I guess we're in the pit stop cycle now. At 105.4, 105.5. It's comparable pace to where we were. Kind of stuck there, log jam behind. That was with a guy spitting in turn one that kind of cost us half a tenth or two. Alrighty, speedy. We need to be speedy. Go ahead and bring the relative up. 26.6 at the line to third place. It's important that we measure it at the same spot on the track every time because of the way the iRacing relative works. It kind of compresses and decompresses and kind of look janky. Whoa, 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 whoa. What happened with Chris? He's a lap down. He's behind us. Chris was the red car. The red and white car. I don't remember who the other guy was that we were next to. 26.6, 26.5, 26.6, so basically the same speed. 105 flat is what they're running. We need those two guys to start racing one another. Clean track. About a tenth slower that lap. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. No? Eh? Blocked! You two, please, at my door.
Slow car ahead. Car stopped ahead. You got a slow car on the right.
Alright. Please make your pit stop. Please be making your pit stop. Please
Right
be making your
side.
pit stop. Now would be a great time to make your pit stop, guy.
Stay on the left. Clear.
Alright, now we gotta scroll all the way back up. Same thing that lap. So it's just a question of, was our terrible pit entry and slow trip down pit lane gonna make up the 5 seconds? I don't feel confident about that. But I do slowly see my fuel number creeping up. But I think we should be good, because I think we saved enough early on. To account for the half a tenth of a gallon that we burned on a lap, on the pace lap.
Car stopped on the right.
Oh goodness.
Car stopped on the right.
Oh goodness. Alrighty, make your pit stop. Make your pit stop. You know you want. You just had a bad lap. Tires are worn. You need to make a pit stop. Or not. I tried. Oh man. See, here's where this strategy gets choked up.
Car right.
Come on, guy.
Clear on
Come
the right.
on.
Left side. Clear. Go right.
I am inevitable. I will pass you. I have made a pit stop. You probably have not. Unless you had the world's fastest pit stop ever. We're running 2 different races at this moment. Oh man, we just lost half a second.
You're in the top 10.
Be really handy if I had a car to slipstream off of. We're 15 seconds behind David. Not that he was ever in the question, but I think we're about 10 seconds before the stop.
Car on your left.
Thank you.
Clear.
Just don't think we have the speed. We have the speed and we don't have a drafting partner. And unfortunately, looks like that gap between what is now second and third is opened up a bit. I don't remember who the other guy was that we were racing with. I'm guessing he probably already made his pit stop as well. Otherwise, we're just going to be massively ahead of him, I think. I don't know what the pit stop delta time is, but it's got to be probably about 25 seconds or so. So I think my in lap was a 110, and then the out lap was a 121. So this track does have a really short pit lane. Alrighty, let's see. We got one in the pits. I do think he's going to probably come out 6-7 seconds ahead. Yep, there he is. 4 seconds. So we did gain time in the cycle.
The leader's pitting now.
I think we were about 4.5, 5.5 seconds back, somewhere thereabouts. But that's obviously not going to do it. I mean, we really needed those guys to start racing with one another, because once they kind of broke off from the 2 guys that were in front of me, we just kind of stayed single file, which is, again, we kind of knew this was going to happen. compared to other tracks that we've raced on in this league, just because of the fact that this isn't nearly as much of a draft track, although the draft still does make up 2.5 tenths of a second roughly. I mean, I suppose if you include the incidents that we've had to dodge and all that stuff, yeah, this strategy obviously worked out in the end. Because A, we closed up the gap, as well as, you know, if we didn't have those issues, we would have closed it up even further, but... to have the pace to cover.
Pit up and by.
Ciao, they keep us back straight.
The lead is fitting now.
So just come on right here.
Just make your pit stop, guy. I'm pretty sure we would have been one of the first people to make a pit stop. Alright, and Aaron's 6.5 up the road. This is what we thought. Need more speed. Gotta put on a smoke show there.
Right side. Clear.
Yeah, you let the guy out of the way just to pit the next lap by. Yeah, why not just pit then and be done with it?
You got a slow car on the right.
Oh! Things are getting
You're in
feisty.
fifth.
It's gonna help us out. That's really helped us out. Come on, guys. Come on. You need to make your pit stop. You all need to make a pit stop. You need to make your pit stop. Come on.
Chris, we're not up far enough from Kenneth. Let's go, bud.
You guys need to make a pit stop. Maybe you don't, but I feel like you need to make a pit stop, guys. I feel like there is a pit stop in your guys' near-term future. It's going to work out the best for both of you. As you're going to come out the other side, be in your battle, be having a blast with one another, enjoying some good, clean, hard racing. Come on, pit stop. Pit stops. Pit stops.
Car on your left. Clear. Car on your left. Clear.
Alrighty, 2-7. We got probably, what, 4 laps to go? So they might have already made their pit stop.
You have about 5 laps of fuel left.
Be good. Ass left. Oh, Rob, I think you really need to go fix your quick chat, because I'm pretty sure you're trying to say pass left, or else you're basically saying that everybody who's passing you on the left side is an ass, which is probably not the message you want to send. I don't think that's what you're trying to say, but I think that's what you are actually saying. Oh man, this race. Just has not gone our way. I really think if we had a better starting spot, we would have been ahead of these guys. But you gotta qualify, right? You gotta be able to qualify. Especially on a track like this, you can't handicap yourself like that against these quality drivers, you know?
Take it, Jason.
No problem.
Just can't do it. Maybe if you were actually good, you could, but I'm truly, truly average. I'm the real definition of mediocre at best. Heyo! Who remembers that? How many more laps we got here? Should have 2 to go.
Sorry, Jen.
Should be good.
I thought there was enough room.
As long as there's not 3 laps to go, we should be good. Hopefully there's not 3 laps to go. Should get the white flag next time.
You have about 2 laps of fuel left.
Let's see here, if we don't get the white flag this time by, which I'm getting kind of concerned about, because the leader should have already gotten the white flag. The spotter should have already announced it. Which means that I think we're going to be in full save mode.
White flag, white flag.
Wait, iRacing, when did you guys change that? It used to be the white flag was announced when the leaders got the white flag. Okay. It is what it is. I mean, us catching this guy is going to be 100% wholly dependent on him making a mistake. So
You have about 1 lap of fuel left.
it's not like we're going to just magically go 2.5 seconds faster in one lap. Well, looks like the fast guys win one. Fast guys are on the board here in this league. Looks like we can bring it home in fifth. Although the thing I'm most pleased about, 0x. We're 3 for 3, boys. No incidents allowed. All right, that's the way we're doing it.
There's the flag.
And we're doing
It's
it from
over. Great job.
from the
You did
type
really
of qualifying
well.
positions that I end up
Ran
in.
out of fuel.
Right? And I'm out of fuel. Perfect. Nailed it. And
Sorry, Chris.
I guess one thing I do want to mention. So you don't really think about it. I just realized here what's happening. Because this car uses so little fuel per lap, it doesn't pick it up. So even though you have a lap of fuel remaining, you're basically already entirely out of gas in any other car, and it sputters. So you need to actually have a little bit of leeway in there, because you really need to have basically 0.2 of a gallon to go ahead and not have the car sputter, which in most cars 0.2 of a gallon isn't even a lap, whereas in this thing 0.2 of a gallon is 2 laps. So we're out of fuel. Just trying to make it around. Doesn't look like we're going to be in the demo derby this time either, so we ain't got no gas. But the sad thing is, I feel like my pit entry and just trip down pit road should have been much better than what they were. To the point where I really think I should have been able to get the guy in front of me.
Okay, the race is over. Bring it on in.
Gotta work on that speed control, man. But that's gonna do it.
That's
Another,
it. Go.
Good, clean race. Definitely the least exciting of the three. We're kind of in no man's land there, but it's enjoyable. Racing with people that know what they're doing and drive respectfully. Top 5, clean race. Can't hate on that too much. So, anyways, that's gonna do it for the stream today. So, hope you guys enjoyed.